The British Prime Minister has just did something ridiculously when no leader has ever done in 300 years. And it might have just ended his career in real time. Keir Starmer has just crossed the ultimate red line in British politics history. In a private meeting that leaked within an hour, he launched a devastating attack on King Charles III himself, calling the monarch's recent actions reckless and accusing him for undermining democracy. But here's what makes it absolutely explosive. This didn't happen in a vacuum. King Charles has just done something unprecedented of his own. If you want to stay ahead of breaking political stories like this that are reshaping the entire nation, hit that subscribe button because what happens next will determine Britain's future. 3 days ago, King Charles broke centuries of royal protocol. Palace insiders confirm he held a private meeting with Nigel Farage and senior Reform UK officials at Windsor Castle. Not a ceremonial handshake, not a brief courtesy call. A full closed-door strategy setup that lasted for 2 hours. The meeting was arranged through Lord Frost, former Brexit negotiator and reform advisor. According to sources inside the palace, Charles requested the session personally after reading Reform UK's position paper on constitutional monarchy. The king was reportedly concerned about the direction of current government policy. What was discussed, 3 separate sources described a wide range of conversation covering immigration policy to economic strategy. But the bombshell moment came when Charles allegedly said, "Perhaps it's time for fresh thinking in Westminster." Royal watchers call it the most political charged statement from the monarch since Queen Victoria. The timing couldn't be more significant. Labour's approval rating has crashed to 28% in the latest YouGov poll. Inflation is crushing British families at 11.2%. Energy bills has tripled since January. Mass protests fill under streets weekly, with over 200,000 demonstrators last weekend. And now, in the first time for modern history, a reigning British monarch has appeared to signal support for the opposition. Within 48 hours, Reform UK's membership exploded to 400%, from 85,000 to 455,000 membership. Donations flooded, totaling 2.3 million in just 2 days. Nigel Farage, standing outside the parliament, declared it the moment British chose change over chaos. But here's where the story gets explosive. We've obtained exclusive audio from inside the palace meeting. In a 47-second clip that palace security desperately trying to suppress, you can hear King Charles saying, "Mr. Farage, your party speaks to concerns I hear from people across the country. Perhaps traditional politics have failed." The audio quality is crystal clear. There's no ambiguity. The King of England just endorsed political change. When this recording reached Downing Street at 11:47 p.m. Tuesday night, everything exploded. When news of the royal meeting reached Downing Street, witnesses say Starmer went nuclear. In an emergency cabinet session called at midnight, he reportedly slammed his fist at the table and unleashed a tirade unthinkable from any previous prime minister. The king has betrayed his oath, Starmer allegedly said. According to 3 cabinet sources in the room, he's playing politics while families suffer. This is constitutional sabotage, and I won't stand for it, Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner tried to calm the situation, but Starmer was beyond reason. Chancellor Rachel Reeves described the PM as absolutely furious, facing around the room like an absolutely caged animal. But Starmer's biggest mistake was in his anger. It was what he said next. According to our cabinet source, Starmer declared, "If Charles wants to play politics, he'll discover that I can play harder. The monarchy serves as the pleasure of the parliament, not the other way around." Foreign Secretary David E. Garrelly reportedly declared audibly, "Everyone in that room they knew just witnessed political suicide." By 6 a.m. Wednesday, the story was everywhere. The Times led with PM's royal reign. The Daily Mail screamed Starmer's war at the royal reign. Even the Guardian ran Prime Minister's fatal garment. The fallout has been devastating. Within hours, #StarmerVerse, the crown was trending globally, with over 2.3 million tweets. The numbers are catastrophic for Labour. 70% of Britons say the attack the monarchy crossed the line. Ipsos poll Reform UK has surged ahead of Labour in 12 key constituencies. Internal Labour polling shows a 23-point collapse in 3 days. 47 Labour MPs have privately expressed grave concerns about Starmer's judgment. Betting odds on Starmer surviving crashed from 1 goal to 5 part 2. But the real shock, King Charles hasn't responded Not a word, not a statement, just royal silence, which in British politics speaks volumes. Downing Street is in complete chaos. Advisors leak stories of screaming matches and total panic. Sue Gray, Starmer's chief of staff, reportedly threatened to resign Wednesday morning. Before being talked down, 3 cabinet ministers have requested resignation. Educational Secretary British Wilson, Transport Secretary Louise Hay, and surprisingly Deputy PM Angela Rayner herself. The Parliamentary Labour Party meeting Wednesday was described as brutal. MP after MP expressed concerns upon Starmer's judgment. Veteran MP Diane Abbott reportedly said, "In 40 years of politics, I've never seen a leader self-destruct like this." One shadow cabinet member, speaking anonymously, said the PM didn't just attack the king, he attacked the idea of Britain himself. How do you come back from that? WhatsApp groups from Labour and MPs buzz with resignation speculation. One group called Damage Control has 73 members discussing succession planning. Another includes 34 MPs exploring constitutional options. Code for leadership challenges while the Labour Party explodes. Nigel Farage has played this perfectly. Instead of gloating, he positions himself as a statement. At every press conference, he empathizes respect for constitutional tradition and unity under the crown. Standing outside headquarters Reform UK on Thursday, flanked by Union Jack flag, Farage delivered what many consider his final speech. While others attack our institutions, we defend them. While others sow division, we offer unity. The symbolism is power. Reform UK standing with the monarchy, Labour at war with it. Reform UK has opened 47 reconciliatory offices in 3 days. Volunteer applications exceed 15,000. Major donors have pledged between £8 million the next election. 2 Conservative MPs have privately indicated they're considering switching parties. Recent polling shows Reform UK can win an outright majority if a snap election was called today. 127 seats to Labour's 89. For a party that won 0 seats months ago, this represents the fastest political rise in British history. Experts call it the gravest crisis since Henry VIII in 1936. Professor Sarah Matthew from Oxford University informs and aware. When a Prime Minister openly conflicts with the Crown, they are attacking the foundation of British democracy. The silence from Buckingham Palace grows more. King Charles has retreated to Balmoral. Hourly, royal correspondence report surrounded by constitutional advisors, including former Cabinet Secretary Mark Ziller. Some interpret this as disappointment. Others see preparation for unprecedented act. One palace insider told us His Majesty is deeply saddened, but remains committed to constitutional propriety. However, there are limits to what any monarch can tolerate. This isn't just political anymore. It's cultural warfare outside the parliament. Protesters wave Union Jack and Reform UK, chanting and no defeat chant. Defend the crown. Counter-protesters support the PM, but they're vastly outnumbered. Roughly 200 pro-monarchy demonstrators for every 15 Labour supporters. In Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds, working-class community that once formed Labour's backbone openly embraced Reform UK. The narrative is simple. Labour abandoned Britain's values, and the King stood up for them. Jim Morrison, a 43-year-old factory worker from Stroke 10, "I voted Labour all my life, but attacking the King, that's too far. My granddad fought for King and country." Starmer spits on that on social media, amplifies everything. Videos of Farage's meetings get millions of views. Hashtag Royal Reform dominates timeline. TikTok has become a battleground where pro-reform content receives 10x more engagement than Labour pro. World leaders watch in disbelief. The European Union postponed late discussion, citing constitutional uncertainty. The US State Department issued an unusually blunt statement, expressing full confidence in British democratic institutions. Diplomatic speaks for we're worried. Commonwealth nations are particularly concerned. Canadian PM Justin Trudeau publicly stated his full support for Majesty King Charles III. Australian PM Anthony Albanese echoed similar assessments. For the first time since World War II, international allies question British political stability. What happens next? 3 scenarios emerge. Scenario 1. Starmer issues a public apology to King Charles. Political insiders rate this unlikely. It would destroy what is left in his authority. Scenario 2. A Labour leadership challenges emerge. I'm testing waters for support. Several MPs are testing. Shadow Fodder Secretary David Lammy has received approaches from 3 MP groups. Scenario 3. A vote of no confidence forces a snap election that could hand Reform UK unprecedented power. The timeline accelerates. Every hour Starmer remains silent. His position weakens. Every day the King doesn't respond. Speculation grows. disrespected British values. More damaging, 54% now see Reform UK as better representation of traditional Britain than Labour. Focus groups tell a starker story. In Hartlepool, Labour voters use words like disgusted and ashamed. Feelings about Starmer's royal attack, whereas as respectful and strong. It's about political preference anymore. Identity, tradition, and what Britain stands for. First century may have committed the ultimate political sin in British history, declaring war on the crown itself. The respect for the monarchy runs deeper in politics, and not just his career, but literally dominance for generations. Reform UK, once dismissed as a protest movement, are the words of the most dramatic political takeover in history. A king broke protocol. Minister broke the ultimate taboo. 8 hours will determine faces a constitutional crisis, government or both. He has spoken through silence, speaking through polls. Now is will Keir Starmer listen? Take the Labour Party down with him, developing minute by minute. 8 hours determine Britain's future. Did Starmer go too far? The right to challenge royal interference. Drop your thoughts on the ground below. Subscribe for the next notification. Thank you. This political earthquake is far from over. Video if you think people need to know really happening behind closed doors. Politics. Media won't tell you the full story.